that is a good segue into some of the materials discussion. So I just went through and looked through all of the submissions that folks gave. Thank you for everybody that filled out the form on the material section, that form that went just to me. It's been fun seeing what everybody uses and accumulating those a big list of materials. What I want to share is some of the cool things that I didn't know about until you guys let me know about them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to switch here. Okay, so basically I'm just going to share with you a number of things that people pointed out to me that I didn't know existed that you guys might find interesting as well. Okay, so there's this thing called Sketchy Notebook, which was successfully kickstarted, I think about a year ago. And what's cool about it is that it allows you to kind of weave a template behind the page that you're writing on. So I guess it's somewhat similar to tracing in that, but rather than, tracing over something exactly, what that gives you is essentially any type of paper that you want, like gridded or lined, or they have more options than that too, to have kind of an anchor to your layout. That's what that provides, but that you can remove that at any point you want. And I'm just now realizing, Melaine, we had a brief chat on Twitter. I think this was just yesterday. I asked how it went. I noticed that you were doing some practice on gridded paper, and I was curious what your experience was working on gridded paper compared to lined paper, compared to totally blank paper. And I think you mentioned that it helped with layout, but that it was also kind of distracting. What's cool about this notebook is that obviously you could use that gridded background as an anchor whenever you want, but if you wanted to do some more kind of freeform drawing, then you could just remove that at will. So that's kind of cool. And that's the type of thing that with some of the apps available, like digital solutions, that kind of comes built in. Which, let me jump to that then. So what's common in the kind of digital notebooks, so the apps for the iPad or the even ones for your computer too, there is some variation. So I heard of 4, and I think the 3 most popular, or at least the 3 that I've heard from multiple sources, bamboo paper. There's 2 that have the name paper in them. Bamboo paper is one. Paper by 53 is probably the one I hear people mention the most. It's pretty cool. It's got like the right level of simplicity to it. I'm not sure if you can zoom in with bamboo paper, but what's interesting, at least the last time I used paper by 53, is that you can't zoom in and move around. You basically have this page in front of you, and that can be a nice constraint. Even though with digital tools they could have included that, the fact that it's not included could be helpful as well, and kind of a cool, simple interface. And then Autodesk Sketchbook is one that I've also used as well. And this is one, and what you see right here actually is a set of layers. So this is the digital version of what we saw with Sketchy Notebook, being able to throw in any type of background that you want. You can do that with a layer. You would just have to add in like a grid paper layer, and you could have that as a background that you could turn on. You could toggle on and off anytime you wanted while you were taking notes. So it's kind of interesting to see how these different companies promote these apps too. A lot of them, as you can see, are very artistic. And it's really interesting to see how sketchnoters come at these tools that are more often than not used for kind of different styles of art. One that I hadn't heard about is this one called Notability. And what seems interesting about this one is that you can capture handwriting and photos and typing. So if you wanted to just sketch and handwrite the whole time, you can do that. But you can also pull in text, which might be useful depending on what you're doing. I don't think you might be able to do that with Autodesk. I don't think you can do that with paper or bamboo. And I'm sure, I have no doubt that all of these digital sketching applications will evolve and improve over time. So it'll be interesting to see how that happens, and just what sort of different tools and how closer they get to the writing on a digital surface to being responsive enough to feel like it does more or less when you write, pen to paper, which is what I'm used to. But I'm really curious to explore digital tools over time as well. So Rick just mentioned another iPad app called Forged, which looks cool. Nope, I guess I should have read both. It's called Forge. So sometimes what I'll do is, to save time for everyone, I'll just type in a couple of dashes and then send that out. So don't be offended if I don't write a text response to your message, because I appreciate your comments there. I want to try and pull Forge up real quick if we can, just because I'm curious. My internet might be a little bit slow connecting with this webinar. Ooh, iPad brainstorming. I think it's coming. I would love to hear, as folks try things out, if you find a cool tool that you like, I'd love to hear about it. I mean, of course, you could share it in the forums on the site, or connect on Twitter. Oh, cool. So this is kind of interesting. It says that it's built around the concept of a wall. It's interesting to see what sort of real life analogies app developers bring into their app. You get because paper, right? Probably both of these are based on Paper by 53 in particular. When you see it, it's got this book experience to it. You can flip through different pages. It looks like these guys are taking the approach of more of a brainstorming wall, which I like because that's how I built this classroom. I've got my wall over there with all the ideas about the verbal to visual classroom. On each wall, you'll create sketches, pieces of paper, you have layers. This does look pretty cool. Okay, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. If anybody tries it out, let us know. Here's probably a better link. Thanks for that, Rick. The last thing that I want to mention that I hadn't heard about, which looks really useful, I guess at the intersection of analog and digital note-taking, is an app for the iPhone called JotNot. I'm assuming that's how you say it. But this could be a really cool way to capture your sketches and store them and share them digitally. I'm not sure who recommended or who mentioned this, but it apparently does a really good job of getting, one, clear images, which is cool. And it'll also correct for if your phone isn't perfectly parallel to the surface that you're imaging, that you're taking a picture of, it will automatically correct that for you. And it might even have some text recognition to it. And from there, you can very easily email it to yourself or send it on elsewhere. So if you're looking for a way to capture your sketches with your phone and you don't want to use just the phone app and then set up a photo gallery or that type of thing, this might be something interesting for you to try out.